Next installment of beef comes from Baylor Athletics Director Mack Rhoades. He went on the Matt Mosley Show on ESPN Central Texas, weekdays 3 to 6, with Matt Mosley and yours truly, to, talk about a little bit of the state of the union with Baylor. We talked about court storming. He wants court storming to be in there. I retweeted it on Twitter, which you can see on the screen here is at Real Cam Stewart. You can find me. I recommend listening to the whole interview because he's got some thoughtful insights on the court storming, and he has insights on the college football playoff. He's got it on the big men's tennis game that's tonight against number 1 Ohio State. Get out there to the Herd Tennis Center. And he talks about the football positional coaches a little bit and that shift towards a high-powered offense. He has a great answer on that. But then we asked him about all these shifts in the positional coaches, and specifically with the offensive line coach, Chris Kapilovic, who was only here for 2 months. And I won't paraphrase it. I want you to hear directly from Mack and Matt Mosley. Here's what Baylor's AD had to say.
I thought that Kapilovic was a bad move. I understand going to Alabama, but still, it left a bad taste in my mouth because he'd been on campus 2 months. He's been recruiting these guys. We saw him the other day with the O-line. Are you kind of understanding, or did you have my gut, was like, I kind of understand the Christian Robinson situation because of everything, but the Kapilovic, once you commit to something and you sign a contract and you commit to recruiting these kids, I feel like you should dig in and stay. What was your gut feeling on that when you saw his decision?
Yeah, you always want what's best for people and their families, but that one, quite frankly, rubbed me the wrong way, and felt like, this. And let me say this: he's a really good person. He's a heck of a football coach, was at Michigan State, didn't have a job. We gave him an opportunity. I thought, the contract that he signed was very fair. He was highly compensated, and for him to leave after a couple months or less, and who it's really hard on are our kids, are our student athletes, and when Dave had to tell them that they were going to have another coach that the one that they were just starting to get to know and really buy in with is now leaving them. They feel like the rug's been pulled out from under them, and so hated it for them. But I do think that sometimes things work out and are a blessing, and I think Mason Miller is a heck of an offensive line coach, and I think he's going to be really great with those young men. I think he's going to earn their trust pretty quickly. But that one didn't sit well with me.
I thought that was a great response, and it goes to show you once again that Mack is closer to us, the fan, in terms of how he's thinking about these things. He is closer to us than a lot of people think. And I'm not putting this out there to be like, oh, gotcha, look what Mack Rhoades said. Like he's trying to bury Chris Kapilovic. Not at all. Because you heard it in that answer. He says Kapilovic's a good person. He's a good coach. You got to do what's best for you and your family, right? Like very few people are knocking the Chris Kapilovic decision in a vacuum that he goes from Baylor to Alabama, you take that job. But what Mack lays out is what a lot of us were thinking. He just said, you know what? That rubbed me the wrong way. And he mentions it in there, and we've seen it over the years. Baylor pays their coaches pretty handsomely, and their faculty as well. Like they don't skimp on that. And he kind of says it without saying it, but man, you didn't have a job. You were on a staff that was in the dumpster. Like they were being thrown out to pasture. We gave you pretty good opportunity here, and we paid you handsomely for it. And you're out here, selling a dream to these kids. You're recruiting kids. You're trying to work on what was probably the worst unit on the football team last year. And after 2 months, you're just saying, good luck with everything. There is something to that. Like, again, I know the Alabama fans have already been in my mentions on Twitter about this. Oh, this happens to us all the time. And what is Baylor? Of course, you're going to take Alabama. Again, we understand that. But you signed a contract and you were here for 2 months. And any job on the planet, your boss is not going to be happy with that. They might like you. They might wish you good luck. They might not really have much ill will, but they are not going to like that. And Mack Rhoades and a major athletic department is no different. And I thought he handled it really well. He didn't say it right away. He didn't say it as Kapilovic was walking out the door. But yeah, he should be pissed. He paid the guy, signed a contract, and, it's February, and you think, okay, we've got our staff here. And all of a sudden, he's gone. Adios. Out the door a week after being at the Brazos Landing with these guys. And he kept the main thing. He wasn't just saying, hey, I hated this. But I think he was genuine in saying the people that really suffer from this are the players. We're going to find an offensive line coach who can coach at this level. And by the way, I think they found a pretty good one. And he heard it at the end of the answer. He's pretty confident what Mason Miller is going to bring to the team. But who it hurts is these kids. And, you bring them in December, and you got to imagine a lot of kids are thinking about the portal. This is a team that went 3-9. And then Chris Kapilovic, a very, long tenured offensive line coach, comes in. He's been there. He's done that. And he is selling these kids to stay at Baylor. And he's selling recruits to come and play at Baylor. And then he can just leave right after, right, just like that. And these kids are like, well, I really liked what Coach Kapilovic was telling me and the vision that he had for me and had for this unit and had for this team. And in February, he's gone and I have to stay here. I don't have an option like Chris Kapilovic does. So, he makes a great point there. Now, these players are left out to dry. And I think that is just as concerning from an AD standpoint as a coach leaving his head coach out to dry. It stinks. And now, I don't think it's necessarily going to be a huge deal, but now you have to wonder, once spring ball is up, which of these kids aren't going to want the Hal Mummy system, aren't going to want the style of offense, and are going to look for an opportunity elsewhere. But again, I like the Mason Miller hire. Mac does too. I don't think he was going to say he didn't like it, but he seems to really like that hire. And he said, and most importantly, that Miller is going to earn the trust of his guys. And he has worked almost exclusively in the system that Baylor is rumored to be running next year, and one that I think will bring them success, and one that I think that will really excite the fans. So to that end, I'm here for it. We are okay with this beef. And to be honest, it's not going to go any longer than that soundbite right there. But I'm so glad that Mac, spoke his mind a little bit. And that's what I mean by saying he's got some doubters in Baylor Nation right now, but he is closer to you and I than you might think. Someone who is a little more delusional is the head coach at Clemson.